Hi, I'm Maria Thea Harris, or Velo Sews on social media. Welcome back to Organised Style Podcast for Sew over 50 on Instagram. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to hit subscribe, leave a 5-star rating and write a review. You can find Sew Organised Style Podcast, but with an S not a Z, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.
There'll always be somebody who would want it to be run differently, or, you know, has some sort of idea of how it could be run differently. But we are quite chilled out in it, but we're also to the point where we kind of know what we want to do. It's a lot of work doing the challenge. So sometimes you've got to stick to some rules, haven't you? Otherwise it becomes really hard to manage as well.
Also, it's not a challenge if it's not challenging.
That's Sam and Ruan. They run the sewing challenge SewFrugal on Instagram. Do you want to know what drives Sam and Ruan? On another topic, if you live in Australia and decide to purchase your own Mimi Quinn custom dress form, I'll be your body scanner. Go to mimiquins.com to book your Australian scanning session. Now, let's grab a cuppa to hear from Sam and Ruan. Today we've got two guests. I'm really pleased to introduce Sam Chandler and Ruan Clayworth. You'll know Sam because she's Frugalissima on Instagram, and Ruan is the Yorkshire Sew Girl. Did I get that right?
Yeah, you did.
I just wanted to let you know that this is the first year I took part in SewFrugal, and it only has one launch date, but the amount of work that goes into this type of challenge is something that I wanted Sam and Ruan to come on and talk to us about. SewFrugal 26, when did SewFrugal start?
2020.
Yep.
So yeah. First, yeah, it's in its 6th year now. Yeah. So we first did it in 2020, and yeah, it's roller coastered from there on in.
But it wasn't called SewFrugal, was it, the first year?
No. First year it was called Frugal Frocks, and that's down to its origin story, which I'll let Ruan tell you.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Your turn.
Well, I mean, it kind of happened, our challenge really in setting it up. We were I think we're coming into lockdown at the time, and myself and Sam had kind of connected through Instagram because we're both Yorkshire girls. And we just basically started talking about doing like a collaboration from memory. I mean, you're talking a while, I've slept since then. But yeah, we kind of started chatting about doing a collaboration together. And then because Sam was very heavily into frugal sewing, obviously, we started saying, well, why don't we do it with using a free pattern and fabric from our stash? And then we kind of had another bit of a chat. And we were like, well, why don't we open it up and see if anybody else from the YouTube community wants to get involved? And then that kind of escalated. And then we were kind of like, well, why don't we just open it up to everybody? We were headed into lockdown. We were all bored. Everybody except for the emergency workers, obviously. And that's kind of how it evolved. Yeah, it was definitely frugal frocks to start off with. So it was kind of dresses, that type of thing. And then when we saw how successful it was and we decided to take it further, we thought we'd open it up and make it a bit more inclusive and make it SewFrugal. So that's kind of how it came about. It was very organic. It certainly wasn't planned as a challenge at all. And then it blew up.
I don't think either of us expected it to go on for 6 years. But going back to what Ruan said about opening it up and making it more inclusive, we did have a lot of people saying, can I make so-and-so? Can I make so-and-so? And we still get those questions. We've sort of kept it as garments, as things that you can wear, rather than other challenges where you can make bags and things like that. But we thought that by opening it up to things other than frocks, and if anybody's not from Yorkshire, frocks are dresses, just in case anybody was wondering what a frock is. So we had quite a few people saying, well, can I make a tunic, or can I make a long top? And it was quite a fine line of where to draw it. So we just sort of said, oh, just make a garment. So that made it a little bit easier. But we still get questions like, can we make accessories and things like that? And the whole sort of idea behind it is using up what you've got. And if somebody comes along and makes 20 scrunchies or a hat or something, yes, you're using what you've got, but you're just using scraps rather than that length of fabric that you've been sat wondering what to do with. And I think that's kind of where we want to be with it, really.
And I think when I got involved this year, like I was trying to do some research on the free patterns because that's part of the challenge. Sorry, let's go from the start. What is SewFrugal? And then I'll talk about the research.
So we asked people to sew a garment during usually the month of March, but this year we made it into May, using a free pattern and using fabric from their stash. and we have a reveal date of one specific date rather than the whole of the month that it's been held in. A lot of challenges you can reveal throughout the month, but we've always kept it where it's just one reveal date. Sew a garment using a free pattern and using fabric that you've already own, that you already have in your stash or that you already own. And we're not specific about what kind of fabric, so if you've got an old duvet cover or a tablecloth or something like that, we fully encourage that. If you've got something that you want to upcycle, and the free patterns are a bit lenient in terms of you could draft your own patterns as well. But we do sort of ask that the patterns are freely available to everybody, because we did find in the first year that people said, oh, my aunt Maud gave me this pattern, and it's not really fair, because they could be using a pattern that's cost £20 and it's not.
I think the idea of our challenge was to encourage people to see what was out there, I think. So people could have a free pattern that they've kind of got from somebody or got off the front of a magazine, but then it was about kind of encouraging people to go and explore lots of different designers and what they've got that's readily available to people. If you are on a budget or you want to test maybe that particular designer to see if it suits you and you like their instructions, that type of thing. So it was all about trying to encourage people to get out there and see what is available, because actually when you do start doing the research, you realise how much is out there that maybe we didn't realise. I certainly didn't. I know Sam was very much into that kind of thing right from the very beginning. And obviously throughout lockdown as well, she was doing her Freebie Friday videos, which I loved, by the way, Sam, if you'd like to introduce those again at any time. I miss those. But yeah, we kind of wanted people to be pushed to kind of go out there and see what was available and discover new pattern designers. And even now, 6 years in, we do have people that are saying to us, oh, I've never even heard of that pattern designer. I'm so glad you've told me about it. And I'm the same. That's what's so good about the vlogger tour, is that you'd think after 6 years, oh, we've done all of that now. That's it. I'm never going to discover a new pattern. How could we possibly after all this time? But every single year, and I do an awful lot of research for it, as you can imagine, I would say that there was over a dozen free patterns this year that I found that I would like to make that I've never even heard of before. So yeah, it's still good even all these years later.
Sometimes the sort of myth that sewing's an expensive hobby it gets perpetuated quite a lot, and it's just like we wanted to make sewing accessible to everybody, because certainly my generation and before, sewing was a way of saving money, and now because clothing has come down in price, it can be an expensive hobby if you're going out and buying all the expensive fabrics. But if you just have a different take on it, it doesn't have to be an expensive hobby. I wouldn't be doing it if it was an expensive hobby.
No. And we're very aware that people might not have huge stashes and things like that, and that's why we kind of said, if you want to upcycle something, or if you want to use duvet covers or tablecloths, whatever you've got, that you've maybe thrifted in the past. That's why we kind of wanted to do it, to make sure that everybody was covered. I've got a very healthy stash. I haven't got no problem with pulling something out of the stash, but I know there's quite a lot of people that won't be in that situation, don't like to hold a lot of fabric, and are quite happy to try and make it as affordable as possible. So yeah, we wanted to try and make it as inclusive as possible, but without the rules being so open that you could literally do anything. And we're never going to satisfy everybody. There'll always be somebody who would want it to be run differently, or has some sort of idea of how it could be run differently. But we are quite chilled out in it. But we're also to the point where we kind of know what we want to do, and it's a lot of work doing the challenge. So sometimes you've got to stick to some rules, haven't you? Otherwise, it becomes really hard to manage as well.
Also, it's not a challenge if it's not challenging.
Yeah.
It's like I once said, it's not make what you like when you like with what you like. It is a challenge. So therefore, if it doesn't fit within your somebody's sort of remit, then there are other challenges out there that would potentially,
there are.
or they could set up their own.
And as someone who's only just tried it this year, there were two things that I learned, goes to the points that you've both already made, is discovering new designers, which was part of the research, and also trying another designer that I'd sort of seen, but you have a go at their design, their instructions, how it fits, because all of that proportional stuff you learn when you have a go.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's a really good opportunity to try a new designer's patterns.
Yeah.
Oftentimes they do have maybe a t-shirt or something like that, but it's really nice when occasionally they have a range of free patterns.
Patterns are quite expensive now, aren't they? You know, with some pattern designers, there's a lot of work that goes into it. So I think being able to kind of try something out, before you buy kind of thing is, you know, really beneficial to a lot of people.
And I think the other thing too was discovering non-English speaking pattern designers and websites. I mean, with Google Translate, you've got a better chance at finding more in different languages and in different countries.
We do get focused on the English spoken language, right? You know, for a reason, because but I think if you've got a basic knowledge of sewing, you can usually work it out without having to do the translate. And you know, but we have got the facilities now. Most of us are online, so it is quite an easy task to translate it down. But it does remind me of somebody that I knew that she was sewing a foreign language one, and they translated, I can't remember what part of the pattern, it was a collar, and it had translated as cervix. So,
right.
So we were having a bit of a giggle about sewing a cervix.
Ouch.
Luckily we knew what they meant. I think that was a French translation, I think.
Okay.
Love that.
Also, watching some of the video bloggers or vloggers, really good to see that when a designer has had a free pattern and then changes it so that it's now a paid for pattern, there was really good support for the designer to do that. And I would have thought that that might not have been the case, but there's a lot of support in the sewing community for designers who provide a free pattern and then realize that, oh, this is actually something that people want. And then that helps them keep their business going.
Yeah, and there's also a lot that are like either free or pay what you can as well. And I think it is important as a sewing community that we do support these pattern designers, because, you know, and small businesses, because we're seeing a lot, particularly recently, aren't we, that are going out of business, etc. So yeah, I mean, if someone is kind of allowing a pattern to be free for a certain period of time and then changes it, then that's fair enough. It's kind of like, well, you know, we got it good while we could have it, but that's kind of fair enough, because, you know, a lot of time and effort goes into pattern designing and, you know, having to learn your craft, etc., and then allowing it to be kind of to everybody. So normally if there's a pay as you can option, I will tend to pay. The fact that it is available as free for anybody should they need to, then that's absolutely fine. We've always said that you can kind of do that, but I do tend to pay, because a lot of the ones that are pay what you can, they do tend to be more than, like what Sam said, more than a t-shirt or something that's easier to draft. They're a little bit more, you know, if you think about Peppermint magazine, you know, some of their patterns are quite intricate, you know, like for example the wide leg trousers, that type of thing. They're, you know, some of them are a little bit more than others, so it's understandable that eventually they may become uniform pattern. But yeah, if there's a pay as you can option, I always do tend to do that if I can.
The only other thing that I wanted to find out this year as opposed to other years, when you've looked at the reveal day and making sure that you find people, was it a bit more tricky this year because of the way Instagram has been playing around with or without hashtags?
Oh yes. Yeah, we had quite a lot of trouble when we came to analyze it all, and we had to be really, really thorough and look at lots of different options for things. And sometimes it was quite difficult because there was either duplications or things like that. So we did specifically ask for all of the entries to be done in a particular way, and some of them weren't. So then we had to kind of work out another way of searching for that information. But as you probably know, and have heard all over Instagram, that, you know, the whole hashtag thing at the moment is letting us down, I think, for people like us in the sewing community that want to kind of search for something. So we had to do two different methods of working out all the entries this year, which did take a lot longer. But what we've decided to do is that for next year we're going to do like a how-to sheet, just for people, because, you know, there's a lot of people that were never even on Instagram until they heard of the challenge, and they've gone on to Instagram particularly just to enter into the challenge. And we want to try and support people that, everything's changing, isn't it, constantly? Even for us,
Yes.
it's quite hard to kind of catch up with it sometimes.
Mm.
I would say that So Over 50 are doing a fantastic job
Yeah.
of keeping everybody informed, giving loads of ideas on how to make things easier as well. So if anybody's unsure, please do head over to the So Over 50 Instagram page. But we are going to look at doing a how-to sheet for next year just to help people out a little bit, and we're potentially going to do a little vlog as well
Yeah.
between us, myself and Sam, so that we're going to give as much support as possible. Things may change in the next year with Instagram again, we
Exactly.
don't know, but yeah, we're going to try and do that, because it took a lot to try and organise everything this year for myself and Sam when we were coming to do all of the winners, to say the least.
I mean, from a challenge participant point of view, you have a whole month to get organized and launch it on that day. But from your point of view, Sam and Ruan, how much work goes on behind the scenes to get to that day and then after that day?
Because we've done it for 6 years now,
Yep.
we have regular contacts for the prizes. We sort of approach those first, and then we put our call out onto Instagram and see if anybody, because there's always new companies coming in wanting to get involved. Nearly every year we get the companies saying, "Oh, so sorry we missed it this year, put us down for next year." And it's just a question of contacting everybody and asking them to support us. We do that sort of couple of months in advance, really,
Yeah.
don't we, Ruan?
Yeah.
That's why it's been a bit of an advantage this year being May rather than March, because it was just sort of run up from Christmas and then straight into SewFrugal, where we've had a little bit of breathing room this year. So we're still debating on whether we're going to keep it into May or not.
Yeah, I think like Sam says, we're in our 6th year now, so we've got all the spreadsheets set up, we've got all the visuals set up. I mean, when we first started doing it, obviously you're contacting a lot of people, emailing, Instagramming, discussing things, putting details into a spreadsheet. You then putting the call out to all the vloggers and then working out what that schedule's going to look like. You then having to do all the visuals, and there's a lot of visuals. Finding everybody's logo, putting everybody in, putting the schedule of the vloggers together, that type of thing, and then all of the generic visuals as well. So there's a lot of work goes on behind the scenes, but that's getting a little bit easier because a lot of it we can just change to the following year now, because we've got the format kind of nailed down a little bit. But then I think probably the easiest time is the actual month it's happening, because we tend to only put up maybe one story a day to signpost people to whose vlog is on that day. We do try to watch every single vlog as well, myself and Sam. I tend to, sometimes if it's gone up in the morning, I'll watch it while I'm getting ready to go to work, or I'll watch it last thing before I go to bed, that type of thing. So yes, from a time perspective, we do watch all of the vlogs as well. I think it's afterwards as well, the work kicks in, but the easiest time is the actual month of it happening. That's a lot easier for us, because we're kind of like, we've done the work, we can sit back for a little while until we have to cover the thing. But I mean, even now we're getting people contacting us saying, "Oh, I'm really struggling to get through to the prize giver. Can you give us a hand?" So then we're contacting them in a different communicating way, to make sure that they're all connected up and things. So I mean, we're at middle of June and we're still kind of working on it. And we started, I would say, well, I particularly started in January contacting people about prizes and that. So half of the year we're involved in it, and then we will get together probably towards the end of the year to discuss next year, and it kind of rolls from there. But it's a lot of work, but it's very pleasurable as well.
Yeah, it is, and it's like you say, because we've sort of already contacted prize givers. That we're not cold calling them this time. It's like they kind of know us, and if they can't support us, we understand, don't we?
Yeah.
It's a tough world. I think it's a small business world at the moment. So
we're very grateful, aren't we, for any prizes that anybody offers. Yeah. We are very lucky that we've got some great supporters. And there's a lot of people that are just, one woman bands and one man bands, and and they're willing to donate something to the community. I think it's wonderful. So we're very appreciative of the work, and also of all the bloggers as well that put the time and the effort and the research in to create an inspiration for everybody in the community. We're really lucky that a lot of people put a lot of work into the challenge, not just ourselves.
Yeah, you've got good support there. That's definitely.
Yeah, I do like it when some of the bloggers sort of see it from a slightly different perspective, so they're not just necessarily thinking what they want to wear. They're kind of thinking, imagine I go on a holiday and this is what pack and putting a bit of a collection together. So those are the good ones.
We love it, don't we, when there's loads of variety. And we are looking at next year, what can we do to kind of help the community with the inspiration as well. And we're looking at potentially doing maybe some reviews of free patterns as well, so that people can actually see them made up, see the process.
Meet Keith, loving dad, board game champ, bus driving pro.
I drive 65,000 miles in my bus each year. If people knew what I know, lives could be saved. Like how there are some things I simply can't see. On my route the other day, a car tried to sneak past me and ends up right in my blind spot. I turned slowly, so accident avoided. But no car should be in the blind spot for a 40,000-pound bus. It's our roads. It's our safety.
Visit www.sharetheroadsafely.gov,
etc., so that people can feel a little bit more confident, potentially, dipping their toe into that way of free patterns. So we're looking at some other things that we might be able to do as well next year, just to give even more support to people and make them feel comfortable with it.
I'll just dip in with that one as well, because I have my own studio, so I teach a lot of beginner sewers. And a lot of people are just completely oblivious to the online sewing world. And that's not just the fact that there are so many pattern designers about. A lot of sort of people my age and above are so used to the Big Four patterns. And they don't even know what that means. We use all this terminology. They don't really understand that's what they're used to. But just the sewing world on Instagram as well, and the community that we seem to have established on Instagram specifically, and it would be a huge shame if Instagram doesn't get its act together, really.
Well, because at the end of the day, we wouldn't all be sat here, would we, chatting?
No.
I mean, it's all virtual. I mean, obviously myself and Sam actually don't live that far from each other, and that's why we connected in the first place, is because we were like, oh, another Yorkshire sewist, great. But you think about us sat here in different countries all together chatting away. What a lovely community, that we would never have had without Instagram, without YouTube, without that online side of things. And we've talked a lot before, haven't we? It can be such a solitary hobby that there's a lot more social side of it starting to appear, I think. And if that's online social, that's even better, because then people, it's much more accessible to people from a local perspective, that maybe doesn't have anything near them. I just think all of that side of things is just incredible. Well, it's changed my life. So at the end of the day.
So Sam, you were talking about how you teach. So can we go into, SewFrugal is a huge part of what you do during the year, but Sam, do you want to start talking about the sewing teaching that you do? Because that's something that seems to be quite significant, and it looks like are you the key teacher?
Well, it's my sewing studio, so I'm the only, I'm about the only teacher there. I do hire out the studio for other people to take other sessions. But it's my, I don't own it, I rent it, but yes, it's my studio. So I established it 3.5 years ago, and it was just a lovely space that just lends itself to sewing classes. So I
was very lucky, because someone asked me 3.5 years ago to come and have a look at this unit and see what I thought. Can you remember that, Sam?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
That's 3.5 years ago. That's absolutely crazy. And I remember going and looking at it all, and it needed a lot of work, didn't it? And I remember saying, I love the space though. And then look at it now, 3.5 years later.
I've been really lucky, but it's going back to what Ruan was saying, is that had it not been for Instagram and YouTube, I wouldn't be teaching sewing. It's just, it has changed my life. It's just been an amazing journey, really. I was working in an NHS hospital in library services and dreaming of teaching sewing one day, and it's come true. So,
because when I looked at the sewing courses or the sewing classes that were on offer, I thought, this is a lot. And then I thought, oh, Sam must have a lot of teachers. And that's why I thought I better ask the question. Is it you or do you? But it's you.
Yeah, it's just me. Yeah.
That's really impressive.
Yeah. And the teaching bit is the easy bit. It's all the marketing and everything else.
Yeah.
All the businessy things.
Yeah, all that rubbish.
And then, Ruan, you've got your own YouTube channel as well as what you do on Instagram. But you're part of
Yeah.
a three, I'll get it
The
right.
Northern Sewl Sisters.
The Northern
Yeah.
Sewl Sisters. And that's what been
Yeah,
going for 2 or
yeah.
3 years as well.
Oh gosh, do you know what? I couldn't actually tell you. All I know is that I met Tamlin and Rachel 4.5 years ago. So we'd just been chatting on Instagram individually, and then I was hoping to meet up with Tamlin at the Knitting and Stitching show in Harrogate, and then she had to cancel last minute, which was disappointed. And then she said, would you still like to meet up? And I said, why don't we meet up in Leeds? You can get a direct train into Leeds, and we'll go, and have a little mooch around Leeds and have a coffee and da 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 da.
Yeah.
And then we were chatting away, and we were like, shall we invite Rachel as well? Because we'd all kind of individually been chatting to each other. So we approached Rachel and said, we're going to be meeting in Leeds. Would you like to come? And she was like, absolutely. So yeah, we just met randomly, having never met each other, in Leeds one day, which was crazy.
Yeah.
We spent the whole day together, hit it off straight away, and then we just struck up a friendship. And then I don't even know how the other channel kind of came to pass, really. We were just obviously chatting about it one day, and it just became a thing, and now that's what we do. But yeah, so we do try to meet up once a month, and we try and create content, because there's a few other people now that have kind of doing things like that on YouTube, but there was nobody really doing anything more than like an individual. And we used to love, was it the Stitch Sisters that used to be about? I used to love watching their stuff, and then they kind of disappeared a bit, and there was a little bit of an element missing there. And we're all very different people, we're all very different body types, and we just said, actually, for the community, probably that was the thing that I kind of missed when on YouTube. And we said there's a little bit of like a little pocket there that's missing, and maybe we could plug that gap, because it was something that we were all interested in as well. And then it kind of, it's just become a thing. I don't know how it happened, but it did.
Tech wise, when people are on Instagram, they only need their phone. When you're doing video blogs, Sam or Ruan, let me know, what sort of technology do you use? Is it just your phone and you edit on your phone, or is there something more to that?
Yeah,
just my phone.
Same.
Yeah.
We're Yorkshire girls.
I have invested.
Yorkshire girls. We can't live with Sam.
Yeah, I just use my phone and edit on the phone. Yeah. I did edit on the computer, but the computer said no.
Oh.
Yeah, I've got quite an old Mac, and it just crashed and wouldn't do it. So I just do it on the phone.
I do,
which is why I don't
on my phone. Yeah.
I don't do
editing and everything.
Quick and easy. Everything. I mean, you'll probably see from my vlogs, they're not the most technical, but I literally video myself on it. I download it into iMovie, I edit it, and I upload it directly onto YouTube from my phone. That's it, literally. I think for me, because I don't have an awful lot of time and I have to try and fit everything in, that's just the best way for me. I mean, I watch some other people's vlogs and they're just so beautiful, and all the thumbnails are just gorgeous, and I'm like, oh, one day. But for me, doing what I'm doing now is just a quick way of doing it, and I can kind of, from filming to releasing a vlog, I can do it in an hour if I want to. It's just more appropriate for me with everything that I've got on at home as well. So
Ruan, with the Christmas countdowns that I watched last year, I mean, to be able to put those out every day, that's a lot of work. And you're saying, oh, it's about an hour, but I'm sure that it was more than that. And they were really impressive.
Well, thank you. My family know that when it's December that I will need at least half an hour quiet time an evening. They're really good. They go and do things that they want to do in that half an hour. But to be fair, most of the time I'm only doing something that I would be doing anyway. So that's how I try and keep the time down. I'll only kind of video things, just having a chat that I would do normally, or making something that I'm making anyway. And then what I tend to do is, because I literally do everything on my phone, every time I record a little bit, I pop it straight into iMovie. Snap anything out of it that I need to. It literally takes 2 minutes. And then, say, for example, in the afternoon, I'll do another 5 minutes of content. I'll pop that straight into iMovie and snap it. So I'm only adding like a few minutes on each time. So then when it comes to the evening, I maybe just got to put a bit of music in and then download it and upload it to YouTube. So, and then sometimes they don't come out until, 11 o'clock at night because I've been doing something. Sometimes they'll come out at 7 because I'm tired and I want to go to bed early, or spend time with the kids, or I've got something on. But yeah, I've kind of worked a way out now in December where I can do it pretty quickly, where it doesn't impact too much on my life.
And Sam, does that
How
sound the
about
same
you,
for you?
Maria? I don't do the Christmas thing.
No.
She's not
I've
crazy.
Christmas. Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Oh, one other thing, Rand, I wanted to ask you, because I was looking at your channel again. You did a tummy friendly style series. Is that because that was something that was of interest to you?
Absolutely. My tummy is my area that I do not like. And I know we should love our bodies and all that. And I've given birth twice and blah, blah. But yeah, it's the one area that I'm just like, oh, it just doesn't seem to be in proportion with the rest of my body. And it frustrates me. So I think what I try to do on my channel is I don't tend to plan content. I just fly by the seat of my pants a bit. But I tend to kind of just try and share things that I'm doing myself. So for example, with that, I was constantly researching tummy friendly patterns that I thought would suit my body shape, that would cover areas that I wasn't too keen on. Or for example, at the moment, I'm looking at summer dresses. So I will probably just share that with people because I love that type of content when I'm watching other people, like when Sam was doing her Freebie Fridays, and I loved that because it was telling me something I didn't know or summarizing something for myself. But I think there's certain videos that I've done that maybe connect with people, and I think the tummy friendly series is probably one of those, because I think as women we can be quite critical of our bodies, can't we? And sometimes that's the one area of our bodies that we want to kind of not cover up, but you know what I'm saying, enhance a little bit by just covering it a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, not allowing it to be as prominent as it may have become.
If I had a very flat stomach, I would be showing it off all over the place. Don't get me wrong, but unfortunately, that's not the case for me. So I just think it's a common thing with a lot of women, isn't it? And sometimes that creates a bit of traction because people are interested in it. I certainly was. So
well, Sam and Ruan, thanks for coming onto the podcast to talk about SewFrugal and all the work that goes into it, as well as what you do. So, Sam, any advice for people who are looking for free patterns, and Ruan, the same for you, advice you would give people as well?
My advice is to go onto YouTube and look at all the past SewFrugal playlist, rather, because we've got 6 years worth of playlists of everybody who's done the SewFrugal. That is a really good starting point. Really, if you've got a favourite pattern designer, just go onto their website and put in either free, or if you've got a high to low pricing range, just sort it down from lowest to first, and it will tell you if they've got a free pattern. And that's what I do. I just go on and see if I've heard of a new pattern designer. I think, I wonder if they've got a free one. See if I can test it out. And that's how I discover quite a lot of them. But yeah, the SewFrugal playlist will be a really rich place. The only problem is we didn't really touch on it very much, but there are a few pattern companies now that have withdrawn their free patterns and not gone bust. They've just decided to do a pay for, which what we've said is quite right, that they should monetize what they've worked hard for. But you will find amongst those that some of the links will be now paid for patterns.
There's usually at least a minimum of 31 vloggers each year that are talking about free patterns. And say, for example, we all talk about 4 patterns each. That's a lot of patterns for people. And there's going to be duplications, don't get me wrong, along the way. There are also some spreadsheets that have been created by some people that we've talked about in the SewFrugal videos as well. There's some size inclusive free patterns, that type of thing. But also Instagram's just great. And if you were kind of looking to see patterns that are already made up, you could put whichever the SewFrugal is from the year before into Instagram as a hashtag, and it will bring you up so much inspiration because you'll actually see them physically made as well. And a lot of the time in Instagram, people will have written about their experience with them. So if you're a little bit unsure or anything like that, you'll be able to go on and kind of see what people have thought and what sizes they've made, that type of thing. That's the kind of information I'm always looking for. From an Instagram point of view as well, would be perfect for that type of thing. I mean, the 31st of either March or May, whichever one we do for next year, is just, it's such a wealth of information really on free patterns. That day is, my feed is just full of free patterns and I love it. So it's a great day to be kind of having a good scroll through, even if you're not going to be involved yourself at that time or in the challenge, to kind of get your inspiration from there as well, because, these free patterns aren't just for the month of SewFrugal, they're, 12 months of the year, hopefully. So, a lot of people would like to not maybe take part in the challenge, but see all of that inspiration, get a little bit more of an understanding, and then spend their hard-earned, fabric stash on a pattern that they know is going to work for them, really.
I, for one, have got a list of as long as my arm for the rest of the year now.
Same.
Well, for this year, because we were tagging both of your Instagram accounts, if people go to your Instagram accounts and go to the tag section, they're all there for next year. Yep.
Absolutely.
Well, Sam and Ruan, thank you so much for coming on to Sew Organised Style podcast and for supporting Sew 50.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Cheers.
Nice to meet you at last. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. This episode of Sew Organised Style podcast for Sew 50 was both video and audio produced by me, Maria Thea Harris, in my sewing room with permission of Sam and Ruan. Sound by Knife on YouTube. Don't forget to hit subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, and write a review. You can find Sew Organised Style podcast, but with an S, not a Z, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Many thanks for the ongoing monthly support of the podcast Patreon contributors. Their paid Patreon membership enables me to create these video and audio podcasts for you for free. And yes, if you live in Australia and decide to purchase your own Mimi Quinn custom dress form, I'll be your body scanner for Mimi Quinn's UK. Make sure you go back and listen to our free Sew 50 podcast episodes on Sew Organised Style. Don't forget to tag your posts with @ShareSew50 so you can see your sewing friends from the Sew 50 community in chronological order on Instagram. I look forward to joining you in your sewing room next time. Stay safe, everyone.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.